right, training camp is fully underway for the NFL, and it looks like for Curtis over here at Ace Bread, the training camp is underway as well. Give you a little lowdown, quick, before I get into the podcast. Basically, I did a podcast on Wednesday, covering Wednesday's news, and send it to the tech guys. They do all the wizardry and stuff that I can't figure out, and then they publish it in this whole thing. Something went wrong. They didn't publish it. It was late Thursday. I said, scrap that one. Going to redo it. Recorded it based on Thursday, up to Thursday, early, I think Friday's information. Put it up, and it still didn't get published until Saturday. But the dumb monkey, and if you haven't watched the show for a while, that's me. I sent him the original one from Wednesday twice, and so the Wednesday one got published on Saturday. Like 200 people watched it. A lot of nice people commented on it. I was like, what? Oh, what happened? I blamed him. Then I realized it was the monkey. So I put it on just for subs only and made that a part one of this podcast that I'm doing right now. This is going to be the one I intended based on Saturday. So in the original one, I just want to give a shout out to what I did so people who watched it understand. Did a little thing on Tua. There was a big story on Tua, some information from McDaniel. And I don't like to do things twice as far as if they're a big thing and then a couple days later, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like fake. So I scrapped that when I did the second one. And the second one, I just basically focused on the offensive line and why we're seeing a slow rollout of the offense. And this is normal. We shouldn't really be too perturbed. And then based on Saturday's stuff, that's kind of how it went. So this one is based... So the one I'm right here after this little thing is all based really mostly on the offensive line. But if you want to check out the original one, I thought there was some good content in there. But really, I just want to deal with Tua. After I did, I just want to deal with Tua's film. But this one bit was so like I had to because it was a kind of a big deal. It was all over Bleacher Report. Anyway, Savvy, sorry for all the little hassle and the delay here. Appreciate your patience. Training camp needs to work out a little bit more on old Curtis. Anyway, thanks. Here it goes. All right. Day 3 of the 2022 training camp has come and gone. We're zooming forward to that week 1 matchup. I know a lot of you Phins fans and a lot of fans around the league are saying Patriots are dead. For me, I don't think so. Not yet. I hope you all are right. But that week 1 matchup is a big, big matchup to me. And I think that's where we're going to get our first real concrete proof and evaluation over major parts of this new regime and the team itself. Up until that point, we're getting small kernels now, and then they're going to get bigger each day as we get closer and closer to that day, and preseason games are going to be a little bit bigger. And then you're going to have a body of work of evidence. And I think really that's how you can build a good evaluation. You can make foot-in-the-ground observations right now. I mean, but it doesn't mean you're going to have the best chance for success. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is try to have the best chance of success to give good evaluations to you guys. And I understand, I hear a lot of evaluations right now, and I notice people are just so impatient. They want to know that their guy is the guy, and other people want to show that that guy isn't the guy, and this team isn't the team, or it is the team, and everybody's real impatient. We're a desperate fan base. And this is such a big moment for us. But we need a little more patience. Now, I just wanted to go, I was going to go into a whole thing about the offense and understanding through philosophy and why the offense is slow to develop. And not to say that it's an excuse to justify this guy or that guy, but just to understand what the main primary generator of success on offense is and why, because of the way you install an offense, especially a new offense, it always lags behind the defense. I'm going to do a quick hit on that. I was going to do a little bit bigger, but I'm going to do quick. But the main part I want to focus on is the Dolphins' offensive line. Now, these are little kernels that we're getting, but there's a bunch of them that kind of came quickly over the last couple of days. None of them mean this or that, but they are quality pieces that you can put in your back pocket to kind of help you with your evaluation, see where things are heading. And that's going to be the main focus that I want to cover. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to you guys. Thank you for stopping by. I know so many places to go, so many great channels. So thank you for stopping by here and spending your time, giving me comments and thumbs ups and likes and all that stuff. So I want to say thank you. But I also want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Ace Per Head, because just like without you guys, without them, this show ain't happening. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right. A lot of you guys are old like me, and you probably remember Kung Fu Theater. So Saturdays, they had all these like cheesy Kung Fu TV shows, like movies and stuff. And it was like, that was it, man. Everybody in my neighborhood, it's Kung Fu Theater time, go home. You'd be playing in the morning, and then you go Kung Fu Theater, and then you come back and play after Kung Fu Theater. And it was always, the guy throws a punch, the guy blocks it. And, I was taking I took martial arts and boxing and stuff at a very early age. And I believed that was the way it was going to be, but it's not reality. The distance between attack and reaction, it's like half a second, which is, light years. They've proven that you could throw a punch and hit the guy in the face and then the hand comes. It's very, 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 very difficult and mostly luck to actually block a punch because initiative is such a valuable asset. And this is why a lot of attackers have the advantage over a passive fighter, a la Mike Tyson and such. But anyway, this applies to the offense. Now, the primary advantage for an offense isn't a great quarterback, but it's nice. Offensive line, but it's nice. Receivers, but it's nice. Good coach, but it's nice. The primary asset from a philosophical and a fundamental standpoint is initiative. Football, in many ways, is like the game of chess. You have the white side and the black side. White side goes first, the black side goes second. White has to win. They got to maintain the initiative and take the win. The black side, they just have to play to a draw or a win. They got two options to win. And their whole goal is to stall the white side and then get them to react to what they're doing, the black is doing. And once the black side gains initiative, it's almost always over for the white unless they totally screw up. And it's the same way for offense. You install an offense, you got new components, new quarterback, new verbiage, and then you get guys, learning the system, learning how to play ways to be played, to run the plays the right way. There's always a level of hesitancy. And it starts out early in OTAs and it goes into training camp, and you still get a lot of it out by preseason. And now it used to be the third preseason game, which was like the real game, and now it's the second one. So you're getting a short practice time. It used to be 2 practices a day. Don't have that anymore. So the defense always has the advantage, especially when the pads aren't on. If you watch guys that they block, they're always using their pads, and they have to use that physicality much more than a defensive player who uses more hands. They can use penetration. Offensive linemen can't really do that. So it's more a physical style thing. And so all this creates a framework around the offense that makes them have a hard time for success. This is not to justify anybody or to say whatever. I'm not saying that. I just want to put that in context so you can have that in your back pocket. So as you listen to these evaluations, you can understand the context around it. Take it for what it is. Now, the offensive line. This is more concrete stuff. And some good stuff and some bad stuff. But for me, everything is about this offensive line. Everything is about Teron Armstead. Teron Armstead is my MVP already for the season. If he remains healthy and he plays like he always does, he's going to be the MVP. I don't care about anybody else. Really. Because he's going to change this whole offensive line if he's in. And then that's going to change everything around him, the quarterback, the receivers, the running back, and that time of possession is going to rest the defense. It's all going to be built off the offensive line. They're not considered the most popular and fashionable guys on football, but they are the foundation. Teron Armstead we're being told that he's going to be bubble wrapped. He's going to be eased his way into the season, and this is smart. He's coming off a knee injury, and you want to do this. But there's always a positive and a negative, yin and yang to things. And this offensive line needs chemistry. And so there's a fine line between keeping him healthy, resting him, and then getting him in there. And not for his sake. He doesn't need to play or snap, and he could probably come in week 1, be pretty good, and already be ready to fire on week 3. He is a consummate professional and an amazing football player. But the guys around him are all new. New center at a new position. You got Eichenberg at a new position. Hunt playing with guys around him he's never played before. And Jackson over at the right side. So they need to learn to play together. And again, that week 1 game is looming, and it's a critical game. I find it more critical than the Ravens game or the Bills game or the Cincy game coming up. If we could take that first week and then even lose 3 and then take the Jets game, we'll be 2-3 and we'll be poised for a very soft middle and ready to roll. Second in the division is the floor for this team. They've got to take that second place in the division. And you don't want to lose week 1 at home and then have to go play them up at their place. Anyway, so offensive line's key, but I'm concerned that I'm no matter what, Tehran needs to be protected and kept healthy. But that chemistry needs to be there for week 1. We've got to come out of the chute hot. Now, on another front, Austin Jackson, 18th overall pick. I did a whole thing on him last year, and I was, sounding the alarm, screaming, my hair's on, whatever hair I left is on fire. Look, this is critical. He dropped some weight, and I believe I read someplace saying he was 8% body fat. I don't know if that's true. A lot of people really don't understand body fat. It's very hard to be that level. Some tests, they misdiagnose you and stuff, whatever. And the point is, guy's in shape, dropped about 10 pounds, he's around 310. This is really good. It's going to boost his speed, boost his agility, allow him to get to the spot, beat people to the spot, and be able to shift and move. Now, he was very agile to begin with, and this is going to make him a lot more agile. That's the yin side. The yang side is, because he's going to be lighter, his technique is going to have to boost, and he struggled with power last year. And to understand that in the NFL or even college or whatever, you come in, say, 10% body fat and 200 pounds. As that season progresses, you're getting hit, you're getting hurt, you can't train the way you used to. Your diet's not always going to be perfect. And that body fat's going to rise and the muscle content's going to drop. So he's brought himself down to this low body weight, and it's going to help his agility, but it's going to be very difficult to maintain this. So the key element for him is to boost that technique. He's going to have to boost his technique. Now, the good news is you can. This kid could definitely make huge strides in his technique, along with the speed and the surrounding talent, and we could see a good boost in his game. Or it could not, and he could just be a lighter guy who's getting tossed around more. We got to see. Preseason will tell us that. It's not going to tell us what the team is, but you're going to be able to see your players interact with other players, and it's going to give you a lot of cues on a lot of things. Now, on the opposite side, the flip side, there's more good news and good news. Eichenberg struggled on the outside. A little slow-footed, a little short-armed, tentative, maybe not enough power. He got slid inside, which is going to really, just to slide into that position is going to help him because he's not going to have to operate in so much space. And he put on 6 to 7 pounds. And if you look at the image of him here, this guy looks pretty jacked. He looks in much better shape. Supposedly he dropped his body fat and he increased his muscle mass. Now, again, I've been lifting my whole life. For those who don't understand, a lot of this stuff comes on. You put this, if you look one way and you can get to look another way over a couple of months, and a lot of it's water weight. It takes a few years for this to actually be solid tissue. And again, as the season progresses, he's going to fall out of shape and some of this is going to drop off. But for the long haul, this is good because if he can stack off seasons like this conditioning, eventually this is going to become solid mass over 2 or 3 years, and he might even be able to get bigger, and it's going to stick longer throughout the season. So this is very, very good news. He was based on his quickness and agility. And so he looks like this is not just hamburger weight. So I am very excited about this kid, and I think this is great news. Again, we'll have to see what happens. Now, on the negative side of the news and the negative side of the news, it's Dieter walking around in a boot. For a lot of people who watched the channel. They were like, oh, he's going to. I was like, Dieter's going to deet. I mean, guy's a great guy, but there's always been something off with the way his body. And I remember I was saying that when he was in college, he had this thing. He was like on YouTube or something. And he would eat like McDonald's like 5 days a week. This guy's body is not handling the brutality of the game well. It never does. And he never has the strength to handle bull rushes and power. And I think this goes a long way to telling why McDaniel had to move Conor inside. And again, Eichenberg, by moving Conor inside, you're getting him in early to develop that skill set because you don't want to bring him in late when Dieter goes down. And then you got Eichenberg moving to a much better position who can get trained by Conor, who knows the position well. And this really, I think, is a best case scenario. Now, some people are saying, well, J.C. Tretter, you bring J.C. Tretter in, you got Conor at left guard, and you got but Eichenberg's not going to fit that right tackle spot, so he'd be the odd man out. And to me, if you got Jackson and Eichenberg, you got to get one of these guys to play. And I think in the minds of McDaniel and Greer, we all want Super Bowl now, but they're playing like if one of these guys pans out, next year, we got all these picks and money and whatever. We can fill that one spot. But if you put Jackson on the end and you still don't know who Eichenberg is, and then Jackson fails and then Eichenberg moves the tackle and he fails, then you're really out two major pieces. So I think this is a good move short-term and long-term. And Tretter, he's a good player, but he struggled to be healthy last year, which doesn't mean he's going to be this year. But he's older and he's going to cost more money. And the Dolphins don't have as much money as you think. They're trying to hold some over to next season. So I think we're in a best case scenario. And I think we're going to see what I did. A big podcast on the offensive line with Armstead, Eichenberg, Conor, and Hunt. You got four guys that are going to do well. I think they're going to do well as long as they're healthy. And even if Jackson isn't up to snuff and he could be like slightly below average, you can protect him, and then next year you can move off of him and get somebody else in there. This is the best plan short-term and long-term in my mind. But Dieter is not going to be the future. It's a waste of a third-round pick. And I don't know what he's going to do for this season. I think he's going to rob a roster spot. I think you could get a veteran for around the same price who you could rely on more and have more consistency. But, we'll see. Now, lastly, Dolphins won day 1, day 2, and day 3 in one very clear regard. And this is what we got to hope for till we get to pads. No major injuries. Jensen went down to center. That's massive. I mean, that's crippling. We didn't get that. And Eric Armstead for the 49ers, he went down. I don't know if it's long-term. And Micah Hyde for the Bills, he went down. They don't think it's going to be long-term, but it's hip. That's always never fun. So the Dolphins are winning, guys. Will it ultimately play out that way? No. We're keeping the major injuries. I don't consider Dieter a major injury. So we're keeping the major injuries off. We're kind of building towards a direction. The offensive line has some good signs, a little bit of concern underneath. Now we got to wait to see how it all plays out. It's still a long way to go. I can't wait for that week 1. Anyway, this is Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe. Comments mean the most. Really do. I appreciate all your thoughts. Helps me refine my thoughts and get to know you. And man, it's all about people and relationships. That's a thing for me, man. And that's the thing. That's what it's all about. So I'm grateful for all you guys. Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well and go Phins. Come on. We could do it this year. We can. Building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.